The key thing you did right, talking about boom and bust cycles, you raised that secondary for DoubleClick. You also were able to sell some shares yourself and lock down a win. So explain how founders should ride the cycle. I'm in agreement with you. The valuations I'm seeing on startups, because we do pre-seed with our accelerator, and we do seed right around the point in time you're talking about, typically 500K, but 500 to $1 million is pretty close. And the same kind of thesis, right? You figured something out, you got some traction, you can't fake it, generally speaking. So this moment in time is the time to build, and there are some advantages to building in a down market. What are the advantages to building in a down market? And then, hey, in another 5, 10, 15 years, if it's a crazy up market, what's the proper thing, rational thing for founders to do in both markets?
Compound question there. I mean, I always, like I tell CEOs, your number one job is not run out of money. So the three main reasons companies go out of business. The first one is they solve no known problem, which I think gets back to the .com as well as today, where people are investing in cool technology. Let's say crypto or NFTs exhibit, our current examples. They solve no known problem. Blockchain, okay, great. Another ledger, been around, nothing new. So a lot of money goes towards that. So I think people are focused more on you solve a problem. The next reason they go out of business is they don't raise enough money. And then the third reason is they raise too much money. Look at all the we're calling death-icorns. I don't know if that's a word we made up or if that's a word.
I think you made that one up. Yeah, death-icorns. I like it.
Okay, death-icorns. So all these companies that raised $100 million last year, they're going out of business. It's like, what the hell kind of governance is that? I don't understand. That's just not responsible. So those are just bad. Again, business doesn't change. Economics doesn't change. And we really push that on the founders. You've got to build. Business is really simple. You find a big problem, you solve it better than anyone else, and good things happen. People give you money. And if you do a really good job, they give you a lot of money, and then you get this thing called profit. And then once you get profitable, then you don't have to depend on anyone. But on the flip side, if you do get into as we tell founders, you get into the growth phase where you have a playbook, it's replicatable, and you have a high degree of conviction, then you got to use capital. A lot of people are like, well, I can borrow money. That's a lot harder these days. But the whole debt financing, debt financing of a tech company is just, I'm sorry.
It's absurd.
Get some debt as a sort of a insurance policy. But if you got to use debt to grow an unprofitable business, you're screwed. Everyone's screwed.
It was incredible, I guess, in the ZERP environment. I had Series A companies that didn't really have product market fit. They were truly seed companies figuring out product market fit, but they were getting Series A valuations. And then, different banks were like, well, we have this money sitting here, so we'll give you raise 20, we'll give you 5 million. You raise 30, we'll give you 10 million. And then the founders just tack that on to their runway. Okay, I have 18 months of runway. I'll just, I'm spending $1 million a month, so I raise this 10. I raised 20, so I got 20 months, and then I got 10 million in venture debt, or 7. That's 7 more months. And I was like, no, you're not supposed to use it for that rainy day fund, but don't use it as runway, because then a VC has to look at your deal and say, okay, I'm paying down 7 million in debt. I'm putting another 20 million in, and 7 million goes out the door to pay a bank. That doesn't make any sense. No. And in a down market, with this globalization happening, how do you think about work moving around the planet? Because there's something unique that happened with remote work. You and I were in the in-office culture for 2/3 of our career, and here we are. A lot of people want to work from home. So do you believe in work from home, or do you think people should be in offices? We'll start there.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to I'm going to forget his name now. He's at the Hoover Institution, but he's like the expert in sort of this whole work from home. And I was like, what's the answer? We just needed a binary answer. There is no answer. I'm really torn. I think for certain jobs and for certain types of people, working at home is great. I think that it's really bad socially. And I think you get more done when you're in the office.
Yeah. And
for our work, I can do board meetings now, with a, 5-minute notice. I'm in a board call as opposed to traveling for 3 days and wasting time. That's great. But most people aren't that disciplined. A lot of people are disciplined. They need mentorship. They need help. They need socialization.
Yeah, there's a socialization part where people get weird working from home, staying at home all the time. They need mentorship. That's a lost part of this. And I'd say the top 20% of performers are more effective at home. There's probably about another 30% that are equally effective, and the bottom half are not nearly as effective as if they were in an office being mentored and part of the. Yeah, I'm trying to reverse this at my companies, and it's just incredibly hard because you have such a great talent pool of people at my venture firm with 22 people. And then we can hire people faster than in Silicon Valley, and people don't want to be here anymore, and it's too expensive to be here. So I would get a lower quality person who wanted to be here versus this incredibly high quality person at a lower price will stay longer. It's incredibly frustrating in some ways, but it does seem to be reversing.
Well, I'm curious. Yeah. I'm curious for you. I mean, you're an opposite side of the spectrum as I am. You're extroverted, very extroverted.
Yeah.
It's got to drive you crazy not to be socializing.
I'm really an introvert, so. It's maddening, and I am now reversing it. So I'm going to get like a space just so I could have like a co-working type space for my founders in my portfolio, because I do need to be out and about. I host events. I do jam sessions. One of the things that I learned from Travis from Uber, he'd have these like jam sessions. Chris Sacco would do them too. We're just 5 or 6 founders. We'd around, just hang out, have dinner, or just hang out at somebody's house and talk about their businesses for a couple of hours and try to help each other think through problems and strategies and blind spots. And so I'm sort of codifying that, where I do these jam sessions every couple of weeks, bring together 20 founders, go to our law firm, Wilson Sonsini or Fenwick's office, get a big conference room and just talk for 4 hours. And it's really, really energizing for me. And then doing the pod, I get to talk to you and other, investors, founders from around the world. And that does fill my bucket and give me that energy. But I think this has been great for introverts who, they get to focus more and getting rid of commutes. If we didn't have the commute issue, I think this would be like, people would be much more open to coming back to work. Here in the Valley, Apple, I think, is 4 days a week now, or 4 days a week in the year. There might be 3 or 4 right now. Zuckerberg's kind of forcing people back. And then Roblox said either come back to the office or resignation accepted. So I think they did it like a gentleman's riff, basically. We're going to reduce the force by the number of people who don't want to come back to the office. So I think it'll start changing. I also notice that people looking for work from home jobs are saying that they're having a hard time finding them. As
you get 1,000 applications, because anyone can do that job.
Right. So now, and then if you're a Silicon Valley person who wants to work from home, you've got the expense of Silicon Valley, but you want to work from home. You don't want to get on the bus. I understand it. But now you're competing against somebody in Portugal, Argentina, Manila, Canada, whatever it is. And those folks are going to have a cost of living that's 1/5, 1/10 of the cost of living you have, so they can accept a salary that's much lower. And all the management, Kevin, have learned how to manage remote workers. And that's actually the thing that is really mind-blowing to me. Once you learn how to manage a remote worker in South America, Canada, Portugal, Manila, whatever, it's no different. It's all the same. You're in a Slack room, you're on Zoom, you're doing huddles, you're using Notion or Coda. It's all the same. So I think it also increases efficiency. Are you looking to build a SaaS product, but you need help on the technical side? Listen, developers, expensive. We all know this. And they're hard to find. But if you use DevSquad, they're going to help you validate your idea and bring that concept to market in 3 to 6 months. How do they do this? DevSquad is a fully managed agency that can handle product development end to end. This means you're not going to just get developers. You're going to get technical product managers, designers, and more, all for the price of just one US developer. This means you can focus on what you're good at: product strategy, sales, marketing, and they will do all the idea validation, the real user testing. And they are able to do this because there is amazing top talent in Latin America, an entire product team for the price of just one US developer. Think about how much you're going to get done by leveraging DevSquad's amazing talent in Latin America. A technical product manager, that's your main point of contact, right? And then you're going to have product strategists, UX designers, DevOps, and quality assurance alongside that product manager, making sure that your product and your project is a success. So you pay month to month, no long-term contracts, no lock-in, starts at just $40 an hour. And then they can scale depending on your needs. So I want you to visit devsquad.com/twist. That's DEVSQUAD.com/twist to get more details and to get 10% off your first month.